Well, good morning. This is Tampa Home Talk. And in fact, if you don't love where you live because the traffic is so bad on your way to work, I can help. Our off-air number is 813-377-2775. You can call or text 813-377-2775. Oh my gosh, Pat, I don't know how I'm going to make 2 hours.
Come on, it's Friday. Let's shout it out. Friday.
No,
Scream it. Come on.
Yeah, and I think my voice probably wouldn't make it for 20 more minutes if I did that. And speaking of traffic, Mr. Leo Kane and Adam Talley are both in it, aren't they, this morning?
Well, I think Leo is here.
Yeah, what if I love where I work, but the weather... I love where I live, but the weather makes it so I can't get to work. That's where I'm at.
You know, you got to take the good with the bad, Leo, and that's part of the tropical, amazing environment that we live in, right?
You know, it was amazing. At 5:45 in the morning, when the lightning and thunder woke my dogs up, which means I get woken up, I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to wake up 15 minutes earlier than normal, because I went back to bed at that point, and just beat the traffic and be on the studio on time. Nope, highway still shut down.
I had a meeting this morning at 6:30 with one of our partners, Mr. Ty Swinson, at Swinson Construction, and as luck would have it, his morning plans changed. He had to stay home and get the kids all settled. So, you know, it didn't quite work out as planned. So we're going to reschedule another day. But I was here in the office at 6:30, ready to go.
That's awesome. I wonder if this is going to be one of those days that I'm gonna love, and Adam Talley from Talley Insurance is gonna rue, because this is a day of storm events.
I guess we'll find out when he comes in now, won't we?
Yes, we will.
You know, today's show is really awesome. It's going to be all about tips for buying a vacation home. And, you know, there's some tips I know that you can share, Leo, from the inspection side, especially with someone buying a vacant home they're not going to be living in. So they need to know probably more about it than any other time because, you know, they're not going to be living there. We tend to occupy a lot of the time with some of these vacation rentals, and we've been blessed to sell quite a few of these in this amazing climate that we have. But we're going to go through some of these tips, and I know Adam's going to have plenty to say about the insurance stuff as well. So the first thing on your list we want to talk about is just to consider how you're going to be using this home. So is this going to be just for family and friends, or are you going to rent it? Right? And how realistic, like how many times are you actually going to use it per year? So that's something you really should think about. And it, you know, especially if you're going to have a mortgage on it, you really need to have a plan how you can offset some of the cash flow on that in order to basically have it make sense. Right?
Well, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, if you're going to have a home, it needs to make money while you sleep, and then you'd also have to want to be able to resell it for a higher value.
Absolutely. You know, and a lot of these condos on the other side, you know, right on the Gulf in Pinellas, these are going for quite a bit these days. And some of the things that makes them super appealing is when they don't have those long-term rental requirements. So if they allow short-term rentals, more of the vacation type stay, it makes those properties highly, highly marketable. Now, you know, the person that lives here full time probably wouldn't want that because they'd never have a lot of the same people. But for the people that are actually, you know, looking to have their dollars work a little bit harder than they have in the stock market in recent years, it's a great match.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about diversifying your portfolio. I sound like a financial advisor at this point, but I firmly believe that real estate is in a diversified portfolio. Stocks go up and down, real estate goes up and down. Someone's got to live somewhere, everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, long term, I think real estate's always a better bang for the buck, especially in cities like this, right? In Tampa, where we know long term prices are just going to continue to elevate and go higher and higher and higher. The second thing on our list, which is pretty spot on for us, is evaluating locations, right? And, you know, where are you buying? Does it make sense? Is the trajectory of that area and prices, are they going up? You know, are there enough great amenities there and attractions to keep you and your renters coming back year after year?
Yeah, I mean, that's an awesome thing to think about, like St. Pete Beach, you pretty much get action all year round. But if you're down at like Fort Myers Beach, you might only have a 12 or 16 week window to make all your money. So, I mean, yeah, location really does matter.
Yeah, it's interesting. In some of those spaces like that, it's actually, I don't think there's as much to do as there is here, honestly. With us having 3 very major metro areas all in and around themselves, there's never a shortage of anything to do in Tampa Bay, which is why I think it makes this really just the prime location. I'll be in San Diego next week, and I think that our market, I've said this for so long, and I'm sure we'll replay these years down the way, and basically I think we're going to see this go like San Diego long term, where if you don't already own, you're going to be priced out of the market, and it'll be really hard to get something, nailed down.
I hope not. I mean, I run an inspection company. If the real estate market becomes the point you can't buy real estate, that's going to be bad for me.
Well, here's the thing. Like in cities like San Diego, they actually have affordable housing alliances just to make sure that, there's ample funds for people to buy. The rent prices don't get too high, so there's caps on how much those can go up. And when you look at a place like Tampa, right, with as much as there is to do here compared to a place like San Diego, we're still so affordable. So affordable. I mean, the first time home buyer price in a market like that is closer to $650.
Wow, I just can't even fathom numbers that high. I mean, I think about people with normal day-to-day jobs and a $650,000 mortgage, which you're looking at like $3,000 or $4,000 a month monthly payment. I can't imagine people having to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's more than 3 times where we are right here in Tampa Bay. So, if you're thinking about a great place to put your money and maybe the stock market's not doing it for you, or you want to maybe reallocate some funds somewhere else, you should really consider purchasing real estate, adding some stuff to your portfolio. And we can show you a way to have those dollars actually work harder and have a way for that money and that investment to pay for itself while you can still use it as well. Our off-air number is 813-377-2775. You can call or text that number. And if you just text vacation to 813-377-2775, we'll actually be able to give you some insights on this. We can go through the whole list, and even better, we'll do a consultation, whether that's by video, by phone, or otherwise. We'll run through some of your options there. And the third thing on our list is really just talk to the locals, right? Because this is so important. And I tell people, talk to the locals, whether you're buying a primary residence or you're buying, a vacation home. It really doesn't matter. You want to talk to the locals, see what they have to say, especially if it's a place like, where there's vacation rentals and that sort of stuff. There will be other people in there that are also vacationing. Find out how often they come for vacation, find out how many times they've returned to the same location. That'll be a really good indicator on whether or not it's a great place to buy. Because if you got a lot of people returning year after year after year, it's just a great investment because that future revenue stream is there. Well, look who joined me, not by phone.
I debated when to run into the building when I was sitting in my car on the air with you, and I decided when you started rattling off the off-air number, it was a good 45-second jaunt for me to run into the building.
Exactly. So I want to give just a little shout out, a little off topic, but today's my husband's birthday.
Woot woot.
He's 49.
Woot woot.
49.
Woot woot.
He's such an old man.
Woot.
And Reg McCall, she's watching us also on live, and it was her birthday this week too.
Woot woot.
So a lot of April birthdays.
Well, yeah, what happened 9.5 months ago? You always have to think what happens 9.5 months ago. So if we got 4 months, we go back to January 1. 5 months from that, July. Oh, Labor Day?
Labor Day weekend, huh?
Labor Day weekend.
It's a good time to
procreate,
check up, and have some babies.
We've got the day off. We just bought all this stuff. Let's make some barbers.
Oh, man. So I know our show today is all about tips for buying a vacation home, but when I talked about talk to the locals, how appropriate is that on any real estate purchase, right? No matter where it is, talk to the people, see what they think.
Yeah, I like talking to the neighbors. A lot of times we have buyers that like to tag along with us during home inspections, and what we'll do to get rid of them for a little bit is tell them to go talk to the neighbors if we see the neighbors around. Excellent
point. We probably should talk about that a little bit when we come back, why you do that, right? It's because it's a pretty thorough process, and I think people follow the inspector around because they think they're going to miss something. right?
Yeah,
Really
so
big
what
home.
more likely happens, you follow the inspector around, the inspector will miss something because he's busy answering your questions. I mean, we don't mind if people follow us around, but we do ask that they refrain from asking questions until we're clearing rooms and rooms are cleared.
So we're going to talk about that process when we come back, just because we're on point and we're almost out of time right this second. Our off-air number is 813-377-2775, 813-377-2775. Just call.
And we're back. Welcome to Tampa Home Talk. This is one of your hosts, Leo Kane with Barrel Engineering and Inspection. I'm here with Katrina Madewell.
Which almost doesn't have a voice. I'm going to let our guest pop in. And
What
talk about that.
happened? I'm sitting here, and then the
I
guest
started
appeared.
by myself.
This is awesome. We've got Adam Talley with Talley Insurance, who said, and he quoted when he came in, he will what this day?
I was just listening to you on the way in, and you said I would rue the day because of the weather. So it was a interesting ride.
Oh, I knew the second I saw a call from Leo, and he goes, "Hey, remember how we always make this joke about how Leo flies in with like 30 seconds left?" Well, yeah, today's that day. I'm actually going to be late. And our guest for the next hour, no stranger to Money Talk 1010, is actually popping in a little early.
Yeah. So,
to hang out and
I
join
came
us.
all the way from Clearwater Beach, so I'm like, I better get going because the traffic could be a nightmare. So.
Did you really?
Yeah.
So that's the Beasley Studio is clearly a little closer for you, but
Yeah.
you got a little more elbow room
Yeah,
in
but
here,
this
right?
place is beautiful compared to the Beasley Studios. I don't want to knock on it a little bit, but it's a little. You have a nice setup.
So I
there.
hear it's like the rave, right? It's Pat. At least that's what.
Oh, I love Pat.
what
Pat
Mark
actually
Steckman told
chimed
me
in
last
this
week.
morning. He's like, "Welcome back."
So our tip today, we're talking all about vacation homes and
nice.
things you should know when you're buying vacation homes. And Adam, I know you're going to chime in on this as well from an insurance perspective,
Oh,
because
yeah.
there'll be some things to talk about there.
Well, what's very important with the vacation home is to know the local laws.
Now, why would that matter?
Well, I mean, if you plan to rent a home, local rules may restrict your rental periods. They may cap the number of days you can rent each year. They may impact your ability to get insurance.
It's interesting. We
It's
talk
true.
about this like in the condos and some of those short-term rentals being allowed, but most people probably wouldn't think to check the local ordinances.
Yeah, especially with a homeowner. Even one down further from this is if you're doing condominiums or homeowner associations, you have to get the copy of those docs. I mean, a lot of times condominiums will have it right in there. You have to have 7-month
Their
leases.
their bylaws, yeah.
Yeah, they'll limit. They'll try and push out these Airbnbs and these breakfasts and beyonds and things. And I've seen people like try and run businesses out of their condos, and homeowner associations shut those down as well because it's just not allowed in the docs.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Oyster Shell Trail, that one, we're about ready to go under contract on that one. Remember that one we had?
Yeah, I love the name
They
of it.
actually owned a company. I won't say what, but they it had some work trucks that were coming up and down the street and actually operated there for years. And then a new neighbor kind of moved in, and then all of a sudden, county enforcement's up there.
Somehow they found out about it, right?
Yep.
Especially
Somehow
when
they
their
found
name's
about
all
it.
over the trucks, right?
They're having to move. That was a big part of the move for them, other than a crazy loan that they had. Outside of that,
Yeah, I always find it sad when a business is operating safely in a neighborhood for years, and then a new neighbor moves in, and then code enforcement shows up. You know exactly who did it.
I know.
It's-
They've been there for 15 years.
Yeah,
nothing.
it's obvious who did it, because there's a lot of times I'll drive down in my neighborhood and I'll see work trucks in front of certain houses, and I know they're operating their small, like their plumber shop or their electrician shop, and I think it's awesome. I really do. For them to be able to offer lower costs to their clients by not having to rent an office space that they're never going to be in. But you get one work truck at the wrong time in front of their house, it's all done.
Well, I think the key is, right, because many people work from home in this day and age, right? I'm sure you do, Gary, Leo, I know there's times you do. We all do at some
Yeah.
point. I think the difference is, are you having people at that location?
Right. How many work trucks is it 10 work trucks at 5 a.m.? It's a little different than one work truck or two work trucks, regardless of the time, I would think.
So from an insurance perspective, Adam,
Mm-hmm.
what does somebody need to know about a vacation home? Because obviously there's a whole bunch of rules around if you're occupying it, if you're not, if it's vacant. We talk about this
Well,
a lot,
the vacant,
right?
yeah, the vacant's going to be a different story there. You hit a couple of the important things to note, earlier on in the first segment. One is, how are you using it, right? So there's a couple different ways we can do things. So if we have, say, snowbirds, right? We're talking 6 months up north, 6 months down here. We can actually write a normal homeowner's policy for them. We just have to put that it's seasonal. Now, most of the carriers do have certain requirements like a monitored burglar alarm, or that you live in a gated community or something like that, to where there's certain protections in place if you're not there to check on if anything's
So,
happened.
is there any threshold, or is there something that someone should be aware of? Like, because as the insured, I always want to know, how could my insurance company actually deny my claim? Like, what would I be doing wrong before I even know I'm doing it wrong?
Occupancy is usually the main issue. So if it's long-term vacant, the seasonal thing isn't necessarily. There's a difference between
there a threshold
vacant and
on that?
unoccupied as well. So vacant is there's nothing in the house whatsoever, no furniture, nothing. Unoccupied is you're just not there at the time.
So what does that mean from an insurance perspective if there's a claim?
If there's a claim, and so long as you're upfront about everything, like we said, if it's seasonal, you're a snowbird, something like that, there's no issue. Where the issue will come in on the occupancy side is, okay, you said it was seasonal, but the 6 months that you're not here, you're renting it out, which isn't a problem either. It just needs to be written on a different policy form. So it needs to be a DP3, which is a dwelling fire policy.
Yeah.
What if, and I know not so much with the very short-term rentals, but let's just say you have a regular renter. Is forcing renters to actually buy their own renter's insurance, is that a good move?
We see, especially in your... I see it a lot more common now. So even if you go to rent an apartment now,
you
pretty
have to have
much
that
every
renter's
apartment
insurance.
complex,
We require
they
it.
want to see, and they want to see the $100,000 in liability. They actually don't give a toot about your personal property, but they want to see the liability, so it's an extra layer of protection
And they
between
get
you
added,
and them.
right, as an additional insurer, the landlord?
I recommend it if
Definitely.
you are renting out your property.
Oh, absolutely.
I recommend having them put you on as an additional. You don't necessarily even need to be an additional insured. You need to be an additional interest, so that way you're receiving all the documents, so you know that if let's say you get the policy and then you show it to me, that's great, and then you cancel it the next day. That's why you want to be listed on there, so that way they're receiving all the documents that you are.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many, this is where having a great relationship, with your insurance person matters, because you can go in and explain everything to them. And then, for me, I would say a red flag, and I dealt with some insurance stuff this week. If a carrier goes in and starts trying to make a whole bunch of changes without asking you enough questions, that's a red flag.
Yeah. You also touched on something, or I don't know if it was you or Leo, but the short-term rentals. So not every carrier will accept a short-term rental, regardless of the policy form.
What's
So you need to be
considered a
careful on
short-term rental under the policy?
Weekly.
that. Honestly, anything other than an annual
Right.
lease is going to be a
Anything
short-term.
under 7 months.
Right.
Right.
So
Yeah.
they're going to be, depending on the carrier, they're going to be pretty strict on that, and that's something where you could see a claim being denied.
It's a higher liability, right? If you have more people coming in there.
Yeah, absolutely. You're just multiplying the amount of potential liability that's in there, and they're really concerned about the liability. The fact that your toilet might overflow, that's
Right.
going to happen regardless of who's living
I'll
there.
give you a prime example. One of my best friends, her husband, they were staying in this place, I think up in Homosassa, that they rented, for the week or the
scallop
weekend or
season, of
something.
course.
And he literally was like, and the first thing I said was, how much were you drinking? But honestly, nothing. He came down the stairs. It was dark. And I guess somehow the way the stairs were set up, when he walked down, his finger literally, he's missing that finger now.
What?
Oh,
The
goodness.
tendons, everything were out. And he's a fireman. She's a nurse.
So what happened?
Like somehow his finger got caught in the stairs. It was dark when he was coming down, and
In the railing or?
yanked his pinky off. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I don't-
Like there was tendons and everything hanging out.
Oh,
I,
wow.
I can't follow the logic on that one, but
Right.
They explained it, and I was like, what?
There might have been alcohol involved.
They kept that's what I said. I go, how much of that was involved? They're like, no, like it was just ridiculous.
Freak
I go,
accident. Was
So
it a
I don't know if it was like
staircase
the
made
way
of
that.
knives?
yeah,
I
this is
don't
like a staircase out of my Dungeons and Dragons book.
I mean, it sounds ridiculous.
I've been
and
watching a lot of Game of Thrones recently, so there's a lot of things that happen in there.
I mean,
so
they
who
probably
knows?
explained the story 3 times, and I guess you had to be there to really follow it. But
Poor guy.
he's missing a pinky to this day.
Wow.
Wow.
And I know this from, and Adam can actually chime in here, different digits have different values on insurance. Like when you
What?
Yes, when you lose a finger, they've got like the hand table, and they tell you the pinky's like 5,000, and the
Really?
thumb is 20.
Are you serious?
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know about. I don't know about the hand thing, but I'm sure it's true. I do know, and not to get not to make it
Whatever,
more
just
rainy
say
outside
it.
than it already is, but I do know that if there is an accidental death, there is a number based on how old you are, if you have any kids, that kind of
your
stuff.
potential. Yeah, they do accidental death based on your earning potential. And they actually, I don't know why I know this and Adam doesn't, but yeah, your hand has a different, each digit has a different
I thought
value.
he was joking with that.
No,
So
it's-
is your index finger worth more than any other finger?
No,
Probably.
the thumb.
Oh, the
Really?
thumb.
The thumb is worth the most.
Well,
And-
we're
and
human.
not-
It's
So we
what
have
separates
thumbs.
us from everybody else.
I
Yes,
know.
exactly.
and not to put a pun out here, but I am dead serious about
So
this.
that pinky meant nothing, really. It was maybe
Yeah, that's-
$10.
Yeah, ring fingers are actually the least insured digit, and it's
Unless there's a ring on it.
Well, no, that's the reason why, because you're more likely to lose your ring finger and that's why I don't wear mine when I'm doing my inspections, is because that ring gets caught on so many things
Yes.
and you lose the finger.
Wow.
My husband works in the field for the city, and so many times he wouldn't wear his ring either because it literally jump off the back of a work truck, could yank your finger.
And that's actually how I learned
that's-
about the different values
Yeah,
of
yeah.
the different digits, because that was part of my training when I worked for the power company and them telling us not to wear any jewelry and why.
Wow.
So
That's something
Good
new every
question
day.
for a
That's-
personal injury attorney.
When
Those
we-
would be all numbers.
When we come back, we'll talk more about buying a vacation home, and then we'll jump into tip number 5, which is calculating cost.
Ooh, spreadsheets.
Our off-air number is 813-377-2775.
813-377-2775. Well, welcome back to Sports Talk 1010. This is your host, Leo Kane, with Katrina, Adam, and Gary, talking about the Patriots, the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Tampa Bay Rays.
I think this used to be a sports station, actually.
Oh,
We changed the platform.
Sometimes the Bucks.
sometimes no, we never talk about
We're
the
hoping
Bucks.
Bucks.
He didn't
not-
like my Yankee cufflinks.
Yeah, this all started during the off-air conversation about the cufflinks that Gary was
They
wearing.
finally won a game, okay? So it's
He's got to celebrate.
If you're listening to the show and you want to know how to connect with us offline, 813-377-2775. You can call or text 813-377-2775.
You know, I'm looking at this, and I love number 5 because we're talking about the tips for buying a vacation home. And trust me, I love a good spreadsheet. Gary knows that. But I think the most important piece of this isn't even on here.
Which is?
Not just talking to an accountant, but talking to like an estate planner on how to structure the business. So, because the insurance is all about protecting yourself and protecting liability, structuring the business into some kind of land trust or some kind of entity that is in the sole purpose of owning vacation rentals is very important. It's not even on the list.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing, too, like from a mortgage perspective, because as you know, I started on that world, every single, and Gary, I know you'll know this,
Yes.
every single mortgage has what they call a due on sale clause. So technically, if you've got a loan on that, you sign for it personally, and now you've deeded that property to a land trust or LLC or whatever, technically, your lender could call that note due.
absolutely.
Kind of, and I do the which I'm not supposed to do on radio because I was talking with an estate planning attorney, not for me, but for someone else, in regards to this. But if you, from what she explained, and I'm not a lawyer, if you deed it from yourself into a land trust where you're the beneficiary, the mortgage company kind of doesn't care.
Usually, if you're making your payment, they're not going to care.
Yeah.
But it's important to note that that's there.
Just in case.
Yeah. So you better have the cash to back it up.
Have your
if
ducks in a row.
for whatever reason they want to call that note due, they can.
Right.
And just here I am with the insurance to add some more rain to the day. You need to be careful again with the carrier. So as you're, if we take this box that we're in, right, you want to buy a condo, say. And then you're on the beach, so now you're in a wind pool. So the amount of carriers that are going to do it is smaller. Right? Then you want to do short-term rentals, so now that box gets smaller. And now you want to put it in a trust, and now there might not even be a box at all. So,
Oh, there's always a box.
because what happens? Yeah, there's always a box, but what
What
happens
are we
is
writing that through Lloyd's of London or something?
no. What happens is a lot of the carriers, they get weary when it's in an LLC or a trust or anything else like that. Again, for the liability purposes of it. So you might have a normal policy. It might just exclude liability. In
Or
which
they're
case
going to
you
have a
need
higher premium for it or something.
the premium doesn't really change as much. It's really just it's a yes or no type thing. So, but what you can do, and especially if you are gonna, let's say, have a plan of 10 condos or something like that, you're getting a better dollar and more coverage for if you just buy a liability policy anyways.
Like an umbrella policy for all of them?
Well, it would be umbrella kind of goes on top of liability, so this
Okay.
would be and you could probably even get more. Like if you're doing it in an LLC, you just get a standard like general liability policy. It's going to cover all these properties under an umbrella, but not an umbrella policy. So it'd all just be on one policy, and then you'd have $1 million in coverage.
Which
And
brings us-
they wonder why insurance is confusing.
Yeah.
Nobody can follow it.
That's
Mr.
why
Adam.
we go to.
I'm a little confused too, but he's talking numbers, and numbers is number 5, calculating costs. You have to know your insurance, your property taxes, your HOA dues, your amenities fees. You
What about wear and tear?
got to plan for wear and tear. You got to assume a wine glass will be broken, and apparently in your story from last segment, a finger will be severed. That's probably not.
So a good rule of thumb is 1.5% annual budget for repairs.
Do you know where that saying, a rule of thumb, comes from?
Yeah, we actually got this source from Money Magazine and Bankrate.
No, the phrase, a rule of thumb.
No,
No.
I'm sure you're going to
Oh
tell
boy,
me.
here we go.
Somebody with 10 digits, not 9.
No. So back in the day, you used to, and I can't use rule of thumb now in the political correctness world that we're in. Back
Because
in the
somebody
day,
might
you were
use
allowed to
that.
beat your wife with a stick that was no wider than your thumb.
Is that where it came from?
Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing I'm not offended, so hopefully the
Yeah.
person listening is not offended.
So that's where I've heard that it's come from. So it's about an inch and a half. But as long as the stick was smaller than that, you could use it to beat someone, and that was the rule of thumb.
Oh my goodness.
I guess we should be careful about saying that
Leo,
in case
you
we
have the
misread.
best facts.
I go to a lot
an
of
engineer,
trivia.
of
I go to a
course.
lot
It's not
of
a good
trivia.
one, but
I do a lot
So
of trivia.
what happens when you first discovered that one? Like, when did that come up?
I started renaming it from rule of thumb to heuristic. So I don't use the word rule of thumb anymore. I just use the word heuristic.
that's good.
And that's your word of the day, brought to you by Leo Kane, an engineer who's good at spreadsheets.
And apparently vocabulary.
My wife's a speech therapist, so I get to learn all the fancy words.
Nice.
All right, so number 6 on our list.
Talk to an accountant.
So why do you think an accountant might matter?
Oh, structuring your
Yeah.
business, knowing what tax buckets you need to be in, knowing that if you hold your property for less than a year and sell it, you get a completely different tax rate than if you wait a year and a day.
Depreciation, there's a whole bunch of things.
Oh,
that
yeah.
go part.
Sliding scale depreciation, double declining depreciation, all this stuff. Not an accountant, by the way. Oh, but all these.
But everyone's tax position's different, right? So if you buy an investment property, or I buy one, or you buy one, or you buy one, Adam, it's going to be different for all of us.
No. All 4 of us are the same. We're Brazilianaires.
Only you. Only you. All right, number 7.
Number 7, you got to test before you buy. I like that one. I love number 7 because back to number 6 with your accountant. Number 7's test before you buy. So I'm looking to buy property, let's say, in Clearwater Beach.
It's not a car.
That's where I live.
I'm going to go to Clearwater Beach for the weekend. I'm going to go scout the area. I'm going to write that all down as a business expense, and my vacation's going to be covered.
And do your research.
Do your research. And then here's the joy that an accountant will tell you. Once you have a company, if you've set it up correctly, that owns and buys vacation rentals, any single vacation you take can become a tax write-off.
Nice. Definitely talk to
Even a
your CPA about that
cruise?
one.
Maybe not a cruise.
Yes, even a cruise, because if you get off the boat in ports,
Yeah, I guess
There's
so.
a potential.
there's potential. So what you need to do, and again, talk to your accountant about this, and the savvy accountants will load you up with useful information. Grab business
They're
cards
not
from
so savvy.
realtors.
Let's talk about it.
Grab business cards from realtors wherever you go on any of these trips, and you can figure out how to write these trips off.
Well, I
Wow.
can tell you this much. And this is
Hopefully
no
my
joke.
wife's not listening.
Not-
I think
not
I'll be
my
on a
current-
vacation soon.
Not my current CPA, but my last one that I had, we actually had a big tiff because I was considering buying a boat. We were selling quite a bit of waterfront property, and I had a boat, but I was considering buying a different boat for specifically for real estate because we'd get a lot of questions about the depths of the canal and what can fit and what can't. And people that buy waterfront property actually want a tour from the water.
Right.
Legit.
Ooh. Yeah.
And so I ran that past my CPA that I had at the time, and it's just the answers I knew weren't actually correct, and I just it was a very bad vibe. And then she made another comment to me about how do you have so much travel? You're a real estate agent. And I said, oh, yeah, well, let me ask you this. Do you do taxes for other agents? She goes, yeah. I said, what's their gross revenue like compared to mine?
Right.
She didn't have anything else to say. So I'm like, okay, yeah,
Right.
that's why I travel.
Yeah, a good accountant will help you find, and we should get a good accountant here on the show. If you're a good
I was just
accountant,
gonna say
you're a
that.
good accountant, text accountant to 813-377-2775. 813-377-2775. We will get you on the show so you can see. A good accountant will tell business owners how they can maximize their deductions and expenses in a way that won't get them in trouble. Because I know as a business owner, we're going to come up with many ways to do it that will get us in trouble. But they're going to help say, well, you can't do it this way, but you can do it that way.
Yeah, and the tax laws are changing all the time. Yeah. So you want to make sure that person's really well versed, especially from last year to this year, right? Major changes.
Yeah, my appointment was yesterday, so I know all about that.
Yeah, I fortunately filed so late last year that I got to do a mock-up of what it would look like this year, and it wasn't bad.
Oh.
So it was pretty cool. But anyway, so again, test before you buy.
I love that.
What we didn't talk about is testing in different times of the year.
True.
You need to get a feel for what's the busy season, what's the slow season. Gary, you know all about this in Clearwater, right?
Oh, my God. Spring break and trying to get onto the beach. Thank God I live in Island Estates, so I'm already there. A lot of times on the weekend, I don't leave.
Yeah,
So-
and Island Estates, good luck. Like,
Yeah.
you're going to be going to Publix, and that's about it. You're not going anywhere on the mainland.
Right.
Especially near the beach.
Yeah, and if you get off, and then it's just, on the weekend, you just stay put. That's why you live there.
Beautiful place. I love that area.
Yeah.
My family has a little condo there. I love that place.
It's all about walkability.
Yes, absolutely. So test before you buy, but check out the seasons, get an idea of the ebb and flows. A good agent, especially if they do a lot of seasonal rentals and sales, can tell you the busy times from the slow times.
And then if you have that good accountant and every time you're testing before you're buying, you're just writing it all off.
Yep, absolutely.
Have your vacations be paid for.
Yeah. Number 8 on our list, work with an experienced realtor.
Why would you want to do that? Why would you ever want to work with someone experienced? We talk about working experienced accountant. We talk about working with an experienced insurance agent. Why would you possibly want someone that knows the area and that can help steer you in the right direction to find
you
properties?
just answered your own question right
Well,
there.
for one, you're signing a binding contract, so it might help to know exactly what you're signing, especially if you're from another state and you don't really know what goes into that, right? Different states are lien theory, some are title theory, so it's important to know what that difference is, how it matters.
We should get an experienced realtor on the show.
Yeah, maybe we should.
Yeah,
You know,
I think I can hook you up.
Really? Okay, text 8 realtor to no.
text
No.
realtor to.
Yeah, most people cannot spell it, actually.
Yeah, it's
not
a
spelled
tough
right.
spell or pronounce.
I know. Realtor. What I'll say? Realtor.
Well, there is a difference, a big difference between real estate agent and realtor.
It's technically a designation by the National Association of Realtors.
Right.
We pay our dues. We follow the code of ethics.
You just brought up a good point. I had a client that had his agent, and of course he went out and did the sin where you go out without your agent and wrote a contract, and he didn't put any time in for the
Due diligence.
Right, he didn't put any time in there, and then obviously he's now having to go and try to get out of it, and he doesn't really want the house, and he did. So obviously I told him, why did you not go in there with your real estate agent? That's what they're there for, is to help protect you.
Yeah. I mean, people think it's easy. I can do it on my own, and you might be able to. You could have a great experience, but what if you don't?
Right.
I mean, I can't imagine how much it's going to cost him in attorney's fees to try
Right.
to unwind that.
I know. I'm going to find out when I go.
Yeah.
Doesn't
I
he
mean,
have a
it's-
clause where if you can't get financing, you can break the contract that way?
Yeah, he can definitely do that.
So just get a lender to give him a denial letter.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Wait, I didn't say that
if
on the air.
If there's a reason to deny it, if there's not, it puts the lender in a very
Correct.
precarious position.
Right. But
Yeah.
if there is a reason, now the good news is he went out and did this and on behind my back too, and I didn't even pull his credit yet. So that might be when
There
I
you
finally
go.
do, I'll be
Yeah.
able to take a peek at his credit, and if he doesn't qualify, then there's that denial letter.
We're very protective over our clients. You know this, Leo. You've seen it. I mean, you do the inspections, and if this is something major and I'm like, I would be hesitant about buying it, we're going to convey that. It's way better for you to spend another $500 on another property and get a good property than just to buy a property to settle. Like, it's not
So if
worth
this is
it.
a vacation home, like in a condominium complex, test before you buy could mean rent a unit in a different part of the complex and just actually live there for a couple of days?
Or other areas. I mean, really just check it out. At least visit, right? During those times at a minimum. All right, when we come back, right after the break, we'll finish up with tip number 9 on tips for buying a vacation home. Our off-air number is 813-377-2775. You can call or text us anytime on that number, 813-377-2775. We'll be back right after this break.
And welcome Welcome back to Tampa Home Talk. This is Adam Talley with Talley Insurance, here with Katrina Madewell, Leo Kane, and our guest Gary Garino.
Which will be joining us for hour number 2,
Yeah.
by the way.
Thanks for letting me come in a little early and jumping in on.
We're going to
on the
actually
show.
debunk some of those myths next hour about reverse mortgages and tell you how they're so much different than they used to be.
Yep.
And give you some facts.
I remember the days when a reverse mortgage, I used to take my house, sell it to the bank, and the bank paid me.
Yeah, we're going to.
That's not how it works.
Yeah, no, that's completely changed.
I am interested to hear, is there any difference, for our listeners, is there any difference on the mortgage if it is a vacation home or their second home or anything else
We're going to
like
have
that?
to talk about that
Then
in
the
the
second
next
hour.
hour.
Yeah.
But
Use it as
HECMs
a
and
bridge.
reverse mortgages are primary residence.
Perfect.
He totally gave it away.
Yeah.
No reason to stick around now for hour 2. You can just go ahead and
Oh,
jump
there's a
in.
lot more.
Well,
There's
I didn't mean for the reverse mortgage. I just meant for if you're buying let's say you already have your primary home, you're buying a vacation home. Is that mortgage any different, or is it set up the exact same as if you're buying your?
Well, it's going to be a little bit different. A little bit
Different,
more
yeah.
down payment, obviously. You
Yeah.
can't get in for the 3.5%. You can't do FHA. You can't
Just
do
like
something-
insurance, it's a higher risk loan,
Correct.
right?
There you go.
If you're losing your shirt, and
Which one are you gonna let
you
go?
got to make some decisions. Which one are you going to let go?
Right, so you got to put a little bit more down.
I'd probably move to the beach and let the other one go personally. But
That's what I would
Move
do
into
as
your
well.
vacation condo.
right, yeah.
You say that because you are barely married with no kids. I can tell you if you have like a slew of kids like me, you're probably not going to live in that little condo.
Wait, you're saying like
A slew. I
Clearwater
like
Beach
that.
doesn't have good school systems? Is that what you just said?
I don't know.
We're going to get
That's
hate
scary.
calls in from Pinellas County now.
No, I didn't say that. I just said like if you're picking something on the beach, it's probably smaller than the other house you're living
big
in.
house with- yeah.
Yeah, and if
The
you've got
litter of kids that
Yeah,
you
if you
have.
got a litter of children. All right, number 9.
Number 9, my favorite is take your time.
Don't go buy at a whim.
Exactly. This is a major purchase. Why would you don't want to make an emotional decision, right? Sleep on it, take a day, take a week, however long it takes you. If you still feel the same way, then maybe it's...
If you're primary residence, you should still take your time. I mean, that's
Absolutely,
that's
yes.
relevant with any large
With
decision.
anything,
Yeah.
Yeah, like if I'm picking a financial planner, take your time. An
Many-
insurance agent, take your time.
Yes.
Many
If
people
you're
we
trying to
see-
get insurance on my wife's car, Adam will need to take his time to find someone that'll write it.
We found it. We had a hard time connecting, but that worked out for us.
We see a lot of people that have vacationed here before, and then now they decide they
emotional.
love it.
Yep.
Yeah, they love it. They want to buy a second home. I mean, no different for me. I mean, we vacation a lot in the Gatlinburg area, so we have property, in Tennessee, and are very well connected to that area.
You always
So-
are you ever worried about bears entering your vacation rental? And
Right now, it's just land, but no. And the
Tennessee is
other-
actually beautiful.
Yeah,
I know, I've been to
And the other
Gatlinburg
one's a
before.
timeshare, which I know you hate, but I love it because I don't have to maintain it or fix it or clean up or, the water park, all kinds of stuff.
I didn't like timeshares because financially they don't make sense unless you can buy them on the resale market. But what I've recently discovered was buying hotel rooms. So it's like a timeshare, only when you're not in it, it's making money for you.
You can buy a hotel
You
room.
can buy hotel rooms. There's actually places in St. Pete. I actually discovered this when doing reserve studies in St. Pete Beach. Reserve studies a capital improvement plan for a building to make sure they're charging the right amount of money to the owners. But you can actually buy hotel rooms in these condominiums, and they basically have a property manager on site. That's really the hotel desk, and they rent it out. The fees are a lot higher. The property management fees are a lot higher, but you end up having a place that you can visit whenever you want. You get your own maid service, all that stuff you like from having a timeshare. But in that off season when you're not there, you actually make money.
I bought mine so long ago that you can't really buy it for that anymore.
Yeah.
So the prices that I see that they charge, I would never pay that for a timeshare. I just wouldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, Anyway, we did originally own in Orlando, and we changed it to Gatlinburg because it was so hard to get in. You couldn't get into that resort unless you owned there.
Yeah.
So we're never going to go to Orlando 4th of July week. We'll kind of let it go.
Yeah, now the timeshares have pretty much moved into, instead of buying a specific week, you're now buying points into their system of that property for...
Yeah.
Like diamond resorts or...
Yeah, I kind of like the
I
deeded
did the trial
interest,
diamond.
but-
I didn't really buy, but I did the trial, and it was it wasn't for me.
Yeah, but does this buy a hotel room thing that I discovered in St. Pete Beach? Not that I need to buy a hotel room in St. Pete Beach, but this thing that I discovered I've seen in other places now that I know about it. Other places are doing it instead of a traditional timeshare. Developers are offering it. It's a solid package.
We'll have to check it out. Maybe feature them on the show.
Yeah.
Coming up this weekend, I want to tell you about several open houses that we have. We actually got like a packed weekend full of open houses, like barely have man coverage for it. But we've got 4 open houses this weekend. We had another one scheduled, and that one already went under contract. But this weekend, you'll find us from 11 to 3. Just text OPEN to 813-377-2775. We'll get you the list of all the open houses. Some of these are not yet on the market, about ready to hit, or just hit. So you might not have seen them yet. 813-377-2775. We've got Bel Air Loop, an amazing, wow, this property is just so great, Leo. Kitchen's been redone, beautiful floors, metal roof. You would love the outside, the screen room on the water, LED lights. Like,
love metal roofs.
It's been done upright. And this property is only $225, and it's going to sell.
It'll go like that.
I think it'll sell this weekend. Yeah, it's a
Metal
great
roofs
property.
are the best.
I love
Yes.
metal roofs.
I mean, I love this house so much, and it's so affordable. I thought about buying it just to buy it.
Plus, you'd be on a
It's
lake.
such a good house.
So I guess it's not on the market.
It's on the market now, but it just hit. So we'll be open Saturday 11 to 3, and that's on Bel Air Loop. We also have Alafaya Ridge, brand new listing. So we talked about this one as a coming up. It's actually live now. Ooh. So really amazing kitchen, big home, huge yard. So if you got toys, RVs, boats, all this stuff, you'll love it. It's got a separate detached garage. Total man cave. Like, that's how the guy had it set up. It was great. That one's only $375. Really, really amazing property. It's got a pool. Just great property. And then also Viscount, 834 Viscount Street. And this one is almost new. It's 415, and it's right at the Lithia and Lumsden area. So really great little section, good schools, gated community, and it's got a bigger lot on the corner, and it's like walking distance to the pool. So this big resort style pool, you don't have to maintain or clean or fix. You can just go whenever you want and walk home.
Yeah, I agree with that. Boats and swimming pools are things that it's better to have a friend with than be the friend who has.
Absolutely.
That's why I have a wave runner. So just, 2 people.
Our author number, if you want to get information on these open houses or any other properties, is 813-377-2775. 813-377-2775. And I have to give a shout out to Mr. George. He heard us on the air. He listens pretty regularly to Money Talk, and I met with him last night, and we'll be selling his Seffner property it's got a little over an acre. Great property, 210, not on the market yet. But if you want to be the first to know about it, just call or text 813-377-2775. We'll give you all those secret listings that are not yet on the market. 813-377-2775. Remember, love where you live, or we'll fix it. Welcome home, and stick around for our next hour with Mr. Gary Garino. We'll be talking all about reverse mortgages, what you need to know. It's not what you think it is, but stick around, and we are going to jam-pack that next hour here. Stick around. We'll be back in just a few minutes.